Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And today we have Lisa Thompson, who is guiding us into a multi-dimensional awaken. And she's helped people all over the world. And I had an amazing experience in session with Lisa where what was being activated has, I can honestly say, has elevated and changed me in a way that I felt was bubbling up, but it just landed so beautifully and brought in even more than what I could have anticipated by myself. So on today's call, you're going to experience probably an activation or a process that we're going to go into. We're going to get into the experience of recognizing and accessing the multi-dimensional self, and then so many other tools and awarenesses and activations in today's conversation that's really going to act as a catalyst for what's right there, what's blossoming inside of you, whether you recognize it or not. You'll have a deeper awareness and intimacy into what's possible. So in today's description of what we're doing, Lisa wrote that we're going to access new paradigms for your life and shift into your highest timeline. And even if you're already into this ascension journey, you'll learn how to more easily access parallel realities and quantum potential by attuning to your multi-dimensional self and getting instantaneous energetic alignment. So you're going to activate a state of wholeness and inner coherence where your manifestation and your higher timelines flow effortlessly. Yes to more of that, please. And with that, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, John, I'm so happy to be here with you and with the audience. Hello, everyone. And yeah, I can't wait for our conversation today.
How did you discover that you had the capacity to activate other people into deepening into this awareness and actually embodying it?
Oh, that is a little bit of a windy journey. So, do I have a moment to to share my story a
Let's
little
go
bit?
through. I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, because did I come here thinking that this is what I would be doing in my life? Absolutely not. I grew up in a different kind of a household though. My mother was always a metaphysical practitioner, an astrologer. She had psychic friends, tarot card reader friends. And then when I was 13 years old, we moved from Oklahoma City to Washington State to attend the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. And I know you're
Mm.
familiar a little bit with Ramtha.
Jay-Z, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So that was back in 1986, where, here I'm a 13-year-old coming from the big city, going to a tiny town, and my world completely opened up in a different way where I was being introduced to these concepts of multidimensional reality and higher consciousness and things outside of this 3D construct. Now, my teenage brain, it was pretty open. I did think some of it was weird, and even the channeling part back in those days to me was weird. And I never thought I would be a channeler, but it really helped me expand myself and have experiences, personal experiences in ways that I never thought it would. And I also got to, at age 15, remember my first conscious memory of being taken onto a spacecraft. And that really planted the seed for the work I do now as a galactic ambassador and channeler. And
Mm.
so fast forward, like as a kid, I was obsessed with animals, windy path, through academics. I have a PhD in evolutionary biology, marine biology, zoology. So I actually never wanted to really help humans. I wanted to work with the animals because animals are unconditionally loving and humans in my life were not. And so it took me quite like a windy path. And I probably 10 years ago had a scientific hand analysis done. And
Mm.
in that hand analysis, it was very strong for me and my two children that we were meant to be spiritual teacher healers. And I was like, no. But my body said yes. It was like, yes. And I'm like, I don't even know what I would do. That I was like 40, 41, 42. And I'm like, I know all of these spiritual principles, but what do I even have to share? So it took a couple of years for me to just be open to what that might look like. Because at the time, I had a very successful home staging interior design business.
Hmm.
I was still on my spiritual journey, but it was a personal journey, not like sharing with the world. So back in May of 2017, I went to this conference where I got to have my very first experience of past life regression. So this lady, Denise Lynn, who she was
I
leading,
know Denise well. Yeah.
okay, so she was leading this breakout session. And even though I knew about past lives and I had past lives and I had experienced some of them, this conference was completely like what broke me open into this world. So
Hmm.
the journey that I had in the session, it was so profound that I came out of it like, this is what I first need to learn how to do. And so after the conference, I went up to her and I was like, I feel like I need to be one of your students. Do you teach?
Hmm.
And she's like, yes, sometimes. And then the next month, I was at her house getting trained to be an advanced past life regression therapist. And so
Wow.
that really started me on that journey. But I was simultaneously running my home staging business. So I still had to pretend to be normal to my real estate world. And because they're all like, what? You're doing past life regressions now? Um, but then what happened was I was working with my clients and then I was getting regressed, because we were all practicing on each other as well. And all of these lives were coming online in terms of understanding who I really am, much more than just this Earth Lisa. And what was most profound is that in October of 2018, I was taking a psychic intuition class for several months. But on the first night of class, our teacher led us through a meditative journey to meet a spirit guide that would help us get extra information. Now, I had done a lot of spirit guide journeys before. I met humans and animals. But this time I went to a completely different realm, and in front of me were the most beautiful blue skin beings, large bald heads, skinny bodies. They exuded the most pure love I've ever felt, more so than anything here on earth. And I didn't know who they were, but their message to me was, you are one of us, we are one of you, we are family. And then
Hmm.
the one that was to the front, that was the spokesperson, um, gave me the name Uluru, that was what that entity's name was, and then gave me a gift of a quartz crystal. So I came out of the journey and we're all going around class sharing who our spirit guides are. Fortunately, there was a lady in class who knew about some of the different AT races. I was trying to still be really normal, even though I've been an experiencer my entire life. Seen UFOs, I've been on craft, but I was trying to be really normal and not go down those rabbit holes. And so she was like, that sounds like either the Arcturians or the blue avians. So I went home, Googled what those were. And when I saw the images of the Arcturians, it's exactly what I had seen in this
Hmm.
journey. And so it's like, okay, I don't know what this means yet. And I was living in Olympia, Washington at the time. And so it wasn't until really I moved here to Hawaii almost 5 years ago that that started fully opening up to me, because I let go of the design company. I got to fully step into, okay, I'm here to be my full authentic self. What does that actually mean? And I started, I live on the Big Island, as you know, but I started this night sky watch UFO tour under my spiritual business. And I'd be
Hmm.
doing some healing modalities. But because I was now talking and coming out of the closet, the proverbial closet, about ETs and my experiences, then my groups, they were like, okay, she's ready. Let's go. What are we doing with this? And so what I understood pretty quickly into moving here to the island is that Arcturian Uluru that I met, who is a master healer in the Arcturian realm, that is me. That is my Arcturian self.
Hmm.
And that I am channeling that energy from the Arcturian realm down here to Earth, Lisa. I now have my receiver crystal that I use in my sessions just to help harness that energy even more. But it comes through me and then out to create an environment for my clients and then also to Earth. So that was kind of the opening of like, oh, okay, I'm pulling in these energies from these realms, but it's just me. And then I had other things starting to happen, other activations where my light language came on, I was meeting some of my different aspects of my other selves from galactic realms. So to date, I have 13 different galactic races that I now know that they're me, and I'm just tapping into those realities. And then really it's solidified in early 2024, where they are like, okay, you have your own healing modality now with everything that you know and that you're channeling through us. And so I call it infinity healing method, but it's bringing through the energies of the Arcturians, the Syrians, and the Mantis specifically.
Mm.
So,
And what happens for people during those experiences? And,
well,
and and I want to get into the more obvious question in a little bit, but let's continue this thread. Yeah, what happens? What do people experience in these? I know I had a profound experience with you, which one I want to share a little bit about in a little while. Um, but you've been working with people for quite some time, taking them through this modality.
I have, and it's been interesting because everyone who comes to me wants something and needs something a little bit different. And so it's not a one size fits all cookie cutter kind of session. It's like, okay, we have a conversation, stuff comes up to the surface, and then I am intuitively guided, as well as, my clients, their guides are guiding the session as well as to what needs to happen. So for some people, it's this deep emotional release. Like
Mm,
all of us carry these stuck emotions in our body, these traumas that we have not processed through, that, things that we feel like, oh, okay, that's my story. And I keep telling that story. And so it's going to stay stuck in here. And so when we start to release that, so that's one of the beautiful things.
mm,
We can rewrite the story, rewire the brain to a new reality. And so that things that used to be blockages and limitations, physically, emotionally, energetically, those start releasing to then unfold to new timeline potentials, your highest
mhm,
potential. And it is like an onion, where it's not like necessarily one session and you're completely healed and you're an ascended master, right? We're here to be human. and but over time, new things will come up. And even like me, I've been working with it for myself for years, unraveling this onion. And even
mhm,
earlier this week, something that I knew had happened or was there for me was still like at a very, very deep level, like playing out in my life in terms of relationships and what I was
mm.
allowing myself to receive. And so it's an unfoldment. So, like this week, I've been going through some stuff and working on that still too.
Yeah. I felt like we activated something together in my session, but in my session, y'all, it felt like I've been going through like this, feeling like this blossoming, but it's the contraction from the blossoming. It's like just kind of being with it and my own really breathing in and recharging and expanding through my own energy. And it's like I felt like that connection that I was used to outside of me was now being invited to be in. And it's a recalibration on how to interact and have intimacy with that. And for me, the a big initiation zone is receiving. It's
Yeah.
it's it's instead of going out to trying to create something, because we're not really creating it. It's
Mhm.
just here. We're recognizing it and receiving it as being here. Big
Yeah.
difference. But I had an energy of the ascended master of Melchizedek show up. And then the Christed Jesus on the other side, and what they were guiding and sharing with me as I was expressing their words, and Lisa was witnessing and holding the container for that, was profound. And it felt like I broke through a glass ceiling of not only receiving and healing, but also an aspect of embodying what they were transmitting to me. And so the embodiment part of this was so strong for me.
That is for me, like even just really recognizing, okay, this Arcturian Uluru that I am in this Arcturian realm, higher dimensional realm, the more that I have come to fully accept that and embody it, it's just there all the time. It's not like something I
Mhm.
even have to try to be or do. It's just the energy that I carry with me. And other people can see it. Like psychic mediums, they're always like, is that blue one with you all the time? I'm like, yep.
Mhm.
and And then realizing, okay, we're more than just this one thing. So I know a lot of people who identify as maybe a star seed or something like that. There's going to be one primary group that like, well, I'm a Pleiadian star seed, or I'm a Lyran star seed, I'm Arcturian. Well, we're all things. We're all
Yeah.
multidimensional. And so for me, I know the Arcturian came in first because that is the energy that I most am here to work with for Earth humans to help shift
Mm.
that emotional stuck trauma, because that is their specialty. But the Syrians, it's bringing in more of that physical healing. The mantis beings are bringing in master healing. They're master geneticists. And so it's this just beautiful combination. And the more that we realize that we have all the answers inside of us, we are all the things, we are each other,
Mm.
then our life becomes magical.
Yeah. Even in this conversation, I'm feeling my heart all the way up to my throat activating. And so what's coming through, are y'all feeling something as well? I'm curious. Type something into the chat box. I'm curious what experience you might be having because I'm feeling it pretty strongly. All right, I want to get into more of the multi-dimensional awareness and the intelligence that arises through that. But I have to talk about the elephant in the room, and we don't spend a lot of time with it. But we can't be casual about you going into a spaceship and just skipping it over. Tell us more about that.
Okay. So it happened when I was 15 and I was part of Ramtha at the time and we were learning about
Mm,
ETs and things, but it wasn't because we were learning about ETs that just gave me a doorway to validate my experience. And so it was very different than a lot of other people's experiences that know that they have been taken on craft, where I was asleep in my bed, so I don't know how I got into the craft, but I wake up, I'm inside the spacecraft. And it was just me and my ET guide, a small shuttlecraft. But I
mm,
wasn't afraid at all because number one, he looked human. And I'm 15, he looked maybe 20-ish, good looking human. And then, but I also felt like he was my friend, like I knew him. And so, we fly through space and then we land where we were going. When we landed, I asked him where we were. He said that we were inside of Io, one of Jupiter's moons. And then he started touring me around what looked like a hospital facility where I could see into different rooms. People were being examined, but nothing scary. But everyone looked human. And so my next question to him was, are you human? Is everyone here human? He said, no. Those of you that we have brought here are human. We are not. We are humanoid, but we disguise ourselves because our form tends to scare you.
mm,
And I think that's kind of common in some of these scenarios. But then my next question to him was, because I'm very curious, always curious my whole life. And so I was like, okay, so why are we here then? Why am I here? And he said that those of us that had been chosen to be brought there were being tested to see if something happened to Earth, if we could live in an environment like that or something similar. Now, this is back in 1988. We're still in the Cold War, on the verge of World War III. So there was a timeline potential where something could have happened. And then at the end of the experience, at the end of the tour, I asked him if I could see what he really looked like. And so when he showed me, he was about 7 feet tall. He had pure white skin, large dark eyes, and very long red hair. We're talking like fire engine red hair.
wow.
And then he had triangles tattooed on his cheeks. So very extreme in his size and coloration, but completely benevolent. Now, I got returned back home and I'm laying in my bed thinking, that is the weirdest dream I've ever had. And some of you may have experienced something like this where you're like, that dream, what just happened? And
Mm,
so my 15-year-old mind was like, okay, it's a dream. So I didn't tell anyone. And then a few months later, I was reading Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, which
mm,
for those who haven't read that, it's about his experiences of being taken by gray ETs. And then at the end of his book, he's interviewing different people. They all have the same kind of gray experience he's having, except for one guy had a completely different story where he was telling Whitley that he had been taken to a moon of Jupiter and told he was one of the chosen ones. And then Whitley made a little side comment that I interpreted kind of sarcastically. He said, I hope it isn't Io. And when I read that, full body chills,
Wow, I got the chills when you said that.
tears started coming down my face. And so that was, I knew at, already that, okay, that's my body's clairsentience. That's my body's way of telling me that was real experience. So my mom, I knew she would believe me if I told her. So I went and told her. She got really excited because that's how we are in our family. And a few days later, she introduced me to another student at our school. Now, back in the day, Ramtha was of interest to the government. They sent spies in to infiltrate because of what we were
Mhm.
learning. And so this guy had formerly been very high government. He knew about the different ET races that a government knows about and works with. So she introduced me to him. I shared my story, got to the part of describing him. He was like, I don't know that race. He said, but we don't know all of them. He said, there are so many out there, but he said, you
Mhm.
had a real experience. So not only did I have my own validation, but then I had that external validation, which for me was huge, not thinking that I'm crazy. It was a dream. And it really planted the seed for allowing me to further explore that later in my life. And what's
Mhm.
really interesting is that it was only a few years ago that I realized who that group was because it's not one that's known to Earth. And as I've looked through all of these like ET species almanac kind of things trying to find out who is this group from Io, no one has ever described them that I've ever seen. And so in a session with one of my friends who's a psychic medium, I'm like, okay, let's try to figure out who these people are. And what is interesting is that they have a connection with the Arcturians. And so because the
Mhm.
Arcturians are these very high vibrational, high dimensional beings, non-physical, they had essentially asked this group from Io to watch over me as Earth Lisa in this life to help.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was very interesting. And I know you've had there's another guest I believe you've had on your show. Have you had Vivian Chauvet on your show?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, when I was on her show last year, when I was telling her that, she's like, oh my God, he's standing right here next to my Arcturian father. So she could fully see him, which
Wow.
was super cool. So I just, and then I had this whole Uluru kind of validation as well, where can I share this story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
So you're speaking Uluru in Australia?
So Uluru is the name of formerly Ayers Rock in Australia, but Uluru is my Arcturian self. That's the
Ah,
name
okay. Okay.
back in 2018 that I was given, which I knew what Uluru was in Australia, but we can't question what they give us as names, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so back in November last year, so November 2024, I was part of an ET diplomacy conference speaking, and one of the other speakers, she had me on her podcast, and then she's like, come on my co-hosted podcast and meet my friend Jen. Well, Jen fully remembers her life as a Lyran during the time of the Orion Wars. So, Star Wars based on real stuff, called the Orion Wars for the audience, maybe doesn't, whoever doesn't know that. But she had written a book about this. And in the middle, she didn't know who I was at all. But in the middle of the podcast discussion, she's like, I know you. And I'm like, you do? She's like, you're Arcturian. I said, yeah. She said, you're a healer. I said, yeah. She said, I wrote about you in my book. And then,
What?
yeah. And so she sent me her book. And when I get to the part where she's writing about me, I thought it was going to be very generic, like, oh, just some healer Arcturian. No, Master Healer Arcturian Uluru, spelled correctly. And this whole part about what my role was, in her story. And it's crazy because you can't make that stuff up.
No, you can't. You can't. That's amazing. And to follow the synchronicities, um, it's not like you're looking for the synchronicities. They find you at the right moment.
Yes, exactly. Well, and what's so interesting is, so again, I do regressions for people, but I love getting regressions myself and just
Mhm.
exploring and learning. And so a few years ago, I was having a session done where one of the lives that I went to was during the time of the building of the pyramids.
Hmm.
And so, I've always kind of been fascinated with Egypt and all of that ancient world. But I was not a human. I was one of the ETs. And I was actually a Syrian genetic engineer in that life. And so there were two groups of us where my job with my team, we were in our spaceship sending down sound frequency energy to the humans. And what that was doing was upgrading their body, modifying the genetics to be able to hold more consciousness and run more energy. And then there were others of us, boots on ground, who were teaching the humans how to do the sound thought levitation process with these megalithic stones to put them into
Wow.
place. And so that I was like, oh, like, because I always thought about that sound levitation, and we were learning that at the Ramtha school, and that, yes, we're all pretty much empty matter. We can if we elevate ourselves to a high enough vibration, we can levitate. Anything can levitate. It doesn't matter if something's 80 tons. And so getting to
Wow.
see this in this, regression state was pretty incredible. And then I got to go to Egypt last year for 2.5 weeks just to, as a human, to experience what we had helped do.
Hmm. I think we need to go to Egypt together. That's another conversation. We'll have it afterwards. That would be extraordinary. Wow, what an amazing story. And let's bring it back. Y'all, there's an opportunity where you guys get to ask personal questions. We're going to go through a process also on the call today. If you have comments, type it in the chat box. If you want to ask a personal question, raise your hand. I promise we'll get to personal questions in a little while as well. But Lisa, take us into a place and share with the audience how they can learn how to access more, or even the beginnings, if they haven't before, of their multidimensional self.
Okay, well, so the first step is acknowledging that we are more than just this one earth life, right? We are
Hmm.
more than just this one physical reality, as Lisa, as John, as Tara and Dave and James who are on here. And so we are more than just that. And at the quantum level, all timelines are existing simultaneously. So we like to think of this earth reality as past, present, future, and even our history, but everything is actually existing in the parallel. It's all, if you think about stacked papers or, in that reality where we can tap in to these different realities, no matter if we consider them past or future. So we are multidimensional. We have lived infinite number of lives as these other things here on Earth, as well as non-Earth, as these higher dimensional entities, fairies, you name it. I've had clients experience lives as trees, as dragonflies, as
Hmm.
crystals. And so because of that, we can tap in to all of those dimensional realms if we know how to do it and we acknowledge, okay, yes, it's real. So some people are able to just automatically go into a deep meditative state and ask and kind of explore. Some people call it the Akashic records. You can call it whatever you want. It's parallel lives. That's what I like to call it. And so when we do that, then once we realize, okay, that really is an aspect of me, then we can bring back some of those abilities. We can tap into those talent, skills, and abilities that we have in those other lives. But we also sometimes the emotions or the things that didn't get resolved in those lives will bleed through into this earth life,
Hmm.
causing issues in our relationships and our finances, our jobs, our health. And so when we understand that, then we can start clearing that away so that then we become more of who we are. And it's more about, it's a remembering of who we are. It's
Hmm.
not like we need to find it, it's just remembering. And the more that we're clearing away the baggage, the judgments of ourselves, of anything like that, then we become a clear vessel for receiving this information from our own higher self, from our guides, who really are aspects of ourselves too. And we can embody it, kind of like you said, you were starting to embody, the Christ consciousness and Melchizedek more so after that session, just like I have fully like embodied this master healer Arcturian Uluru part of me and the others.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's really just first knowing that that is real and then learning to tap into it.
And what are some tools that I think we're going to get into a little bit of a practice on that in the special offer? I know you're taking people deeper into it, but what are some tools or consciousness that's available right now for people to start just starting to tap into it and having more of a relationship with it?
Okay, so I would say that probably the easiest thing is to think about, and we'll just start really simple with Earth, okay? Because
Hmm.
thinking of non-Earth for some people can be like, oh, I don't want to go there yet. But if we just think about Earth, and for those of you who might feel called to travel to certain places like Egypt or Peru or Australia. Okay, so think about what you've always been like drawn to culturally, or even like design wise or food wise. And there is some then connection there that you have. There's some aspect of you that that has a parallel reality there. And that's why that connection feels so strong. And even when you meet people, like, you meet people and you're like, oh, I know you. And some people you're like, oh, I know you and you're my new best friend, or I know you and oh, I need to stay away from your energy. It's an immediate response. It's because of these realities. And so the more that you start just tuning into paying attention, what are your interests? What are your like, oh my God, like I was born, this is not a joke. I was born with an obsession with Australia. Like
Hmm.
I my parents didn't know anything about Australia, but I was obsessed with Australia from birth onward. I was obsessed with the animals. I knew I needed to be there. Like I knew I had this strong connection. And one of the lives that I definitely know that I lived was I was an Aborigine on walkabout. Like I could
Hmm.
completely see that life. And then this whole Uluru connection, I think that there is something very connected there, in terms of even the star beings, because that place, I haven't been there. Even though I went to Australia for 2 weeks, I didn't make it to the center. Going back though, but there's such galactic energy there, and even
Hmm.
the Aboriginal people and most of the native cultures around the world have this beautiful connection with the star people. And so, really, I think that's the first place to start. And
Hmm.
then going inward and asking. I mean, the thing people forget to do is ask. Like, okay, higher self, guides, whoever, show me what this is. Show me some of my other aspects or my other lives. And and when you allow yourself to then receive those images, and they might be images, they might be feelings, some, people have their different clairs turned on in different ways, but just starting to trust that information. And then you can also, if you want to pay someone to do regressions, or there are a lot of free like online journeys that you can do as well if you don't want to pay. But that's the place to start. Yeah.
I appreciate that that's the place to start. And this is going to bring me actually to the next question. We'll get into Q&A, the special offer and the activation as well. But what I'm feeling strongly and personally, but I'm feeling it for the collective also. And I think it's right on time. There's no mistakes to what we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
No mistakes whatsoever. It's divinely articulated. And to have access to this awakening of relationship with a multidimensional self and the different layers of intelligence and layers of benevolence that get
Mhm.
activated through a rekindling of that relationship within ourselves. We're really being called during this time, and it's wonderful. Let's be soft and gentle and take these steps to start knowing yourself in that way. And some teachers would say, and I'm taking advanced students or other people into an awareness of where they can really embody this. But I think it's coming up for everybody. And those that maybe are a little bit ahead of the curve are here to hold the portal open so that everybody has access. But it takes me into the next question. How is it that you're guiding people into stepping into their own power as a conscious creator? Because that is what is up for us right now.
It is, absolutely. And we are at such a critical time in Earth's history or Earth's reality of like
Mhm.
whatever we are really focusing on is what gonna be unfolds for us, right?
Yeah.
We are the creators of our reality, whether it's conscious or it's unconscious. And so
Mhm.
the more that people are on autopilot and just going about their day and just doing their work and they come home, watch TV, go to bed, okay, they're going to be stuck. Well, and there's no judgment at all. Like
Mhm.
everyone's on their own soul journey at their own soul timing. I want to make sure that that's really clear. But they're going to just continue life as is and experience this polarized 3D Earth, this kind of fear-based control mechanism. For those that really want to consciously create their reality, then again, all timelines are existing simultaneously. And so, we talk about different beings existing multidimensionally, but even as Earth humans, like there are infinite versions of you, John, infinite versions of me as Lisa. And so this is where we get to choose what timeline do we want to be a part of. And this is one of the things the Arcturians started sharing through me and really to me, but through me back 4.5 years ago. So they were like, okay, we need you to create your own environment first and foremost. Like you need to weed out anything that is not supporting what kind of life you want to be living. And so they told me no more news, no more politics, nothing that was divisive or polarized for myself,
Mhm.
that I could create this. And so, really, and then it's about holding the focus, it's about holding the emotions, being willing to let go of people, places, things, times, and events that no longer serve us for that highest potential. And so, hopefully, I'm answering the question. I
You
know.
are. You
Okay.
are. But
Okay.
again, and I think just being aware and breathing into that we are conscious creators
Yes.
and just taking a time to really take full ownership of both the opportunity and
Mhm.
I'll call it responsibility only in the way that we become aware in the state of presence also that what we output ripples out for others to experience.
It does. And actually, I had that question last week on one of my social media posts. Someone asked me,
Mm,
well, isn't Tate like working on yourself and, doing this, isn't that selfish? And I thought, that's a very interesting question because it actually is selfish and it's selfless
mm,
because whatever we do in our reality propagates out into our environment. And so the more that we are working and healing on ourselves and our own stuff, that allows us to stop the judgment of ourselves, which then stops the judgment of other people. We're here as humanity to become one and whole and move together
mm,
in this beautiful consciousness together, not be fighting against each other and be judging each other and be like, well, I'm right and you're wrong. And we have this like massive thing going on in the world, and more is coming up, right? Where
mhm.
people
Oh
are getting
yeah.
very amplified on one side or the other. And it's like, no, let's take a step back, see things from that higher perspective, understand that both sides are correct from their perspective.
Mhm,
And the more that I have really embodied that myself, the more that I really like, I can see I used to be very judgy and I used to be very politically active and would think, well, of course, my opinions are correct and you are not.
yeah.
But that just keeps us down in that lower vibration. And now I have these beautiful analogies that my ETs have shown me and led me do processes through to see that reality of like all perspectives are valid. And
Hmm.
so the more that we understand that, then we can actually shift into that higher vibrational fifth dimensional reality where there is no more polarization.
It's beautiful. I want to, y'all, I want to follow this flow. I want to get into some Q&A. So a lot of y'all have your hands raised. I'm going to go there. We're going to go into special offer because the opportunity to work with Lisa and to dive, if you get a glimpse of what I experienced, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. It's going to be amazing because mine was huge. I'm still like, I don't think it'll ever go away, this relationship with Melchizedek and Christ and what it's just amplifying in me. And it's been alive in me in different ways, but I understood what it was carrying at a whole nother level of openness, of receptivity. I understood the invitation and the ownership of what was being directed as the gift that I get to receive, but also how I get to be of service with that gift simultaneously. And the freedom that was felt, and again, being open enough to receive, but receiving in such a way that it could never be taken away from me because it's so imprinted in truth and light of what was coming through. So again, the opportunity to go deeper with Lisa. We're going to get into what the special offer here is in a little bit. And Chris or April will put the link in the chat box. And if y'all want to start accessing the page and start reading through it, click on the special offer button right underneath the video where you're watching the call from. Um, let's get into live calls. I was going to say the selfish conversation and the word just needs to be reinterpreted because selfish is not a bad thing. Again, we've polarized it and it's been used as a tool for shame and guilting uh, to keep us small, to be on somebody else's agenda, not a true path of our own. But selfish when it's done from a level of love, if it's not harming someone else, if it's not costing you something that you otherwise wouldn't give with an open heart, and if it's of benefit, then it's an energy and a path that definitely should be followed. I think it's important right now because as most of us on this call, we're empaths and we like to give to others so that they feel better, so that we can feel better, right?
Yeah.
But that's a manipulation also. And so to really tune into that selfish, that's self-love, that's us activating first before we guide others. And so the honor of that. And then the news thing also for me, it's like I get guided to watch the news only so that I can feel when I get into polarity, when I start judging and rooting for this instead of that. And I'm just like, oh, hold on a second, I'm doing that. But it's good for me to be aware of what other people are feeling so that when I come in to guide or it's my channels coming in, I have compassion and understanding and how easy it can be to go
Yeah.
into those places. And so we can guide each other back home by understanding the mechanisms, but not having to own them, right?
Right. Well, and I don't watch the news, but I watch my social media feed.
There you
So
go. Yeah. That's a whole different type of news. Yeah.
so I get to see both sides. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, there's a lot going on.
And it's teaching us, it's like, oh, wow, I dysregulated for a second. Wait, I chose that dysregulation because I wobbled this way or that way. But
Hmm.
compassion for myself for doing it as well because I was taught that in a different way. It was survival, it was belonging, so many other things. It was love. Um, all right, y'all. I'm excited for y'all to receive some Q&A. And also, we're going to get into the activation before the end of the call. So y'all are going to want to hang out for that. Um, Jean, I want to start with you. Welcome to the call. And let me get you to unmute your microphone, please.
Hi,
Hi, welcome.
nice to be here.
Hi, Jean.
Mhm.
Hi, Lisa.
What's your question for Lisa?
Well, um, I was listening to you, and I on Alyssa Rustin's, and I came in, I don't know, at some point, and then I saw your ET there, and I got really activated.
Okay,
It's,
in which way?
I got scared. It
Okay.
scared
Ah,
me. It just brought up memories in my early 20s and of hearing people being abducted, and it really scared me. And there were times in my early 20s when I could hear something whirling above me. Um, but I don't have any recall of ever being abducted, but it scared me.
Okay, so what I would love to speak to that from my own experience and understanding and working with clients that have maybe had some lost memories or, suppressed memories, or just that fear-based reaction when you see something like a zeta or a gray, is that number one, everything, and this is from my perspective, everything is a soul contract agreement. And so, if there was an experience that you personally had, or anyone else who's listening to this, watching this, including myself, like all of these experiences were a soul contract agreement. And so, there's nothing being done to us against our free will, truly. And what I understand from that fear perspective is that our brain likes to create stories around things, especially if we haven't worked through some of those deeper layers. And they're actually like these beings, there's absolutely nothing to fear. They are love. They, the ones that I work with, because again, the Zetas are one of the groups I work with, and I have hybrid children. I'm part of the Zeta Hybrid Human Program. And I'm
mm.
so excited to be part of that. Like it's a beautiful thing that they are doing. And so one of the reasons why I know I came here to have my first career as a zoologist, marine biologist, is to appreciate and understand biodiversity and the way that things look, the way that form fits their function for their environment, how they operate physiologically. And so the deeper that you dive into understanding that why things might look different, or understanding why that fear might be there because maybe you felt like, oh, I'm out of control, but that worrying, I would say you likely are an experiencer. And the more that you understand that the body will go into a fear state if it doesn't understand what's going on, but you can work through that. There's nothing to fear.
Yeah, this was like my early 20s, 22, maybe 23, 24, somewhere
Okay.
around early 20s, and maybe even, yeah, 20. So,
Okay. Now, what I will also say is that the media, Hollywood, and the government have done a really good job of keeping people in fear of these entities and the experience. And so that's one of my missions, is to change that fear-based narrative, to have
sure.
people
Well,
understand like
so
who they really are.
I think something that's really important to follow as well is that there's some people that are taking people on journeys into a super consciousness or multidimensional level, but they're guiding with fear and judgment as well. So it's really important to pick the facilitator who you're traveling with, because that
Yes.
is going to make a huge difference. You can be taken into realms that are of somebody else's making,
Hmm.
but you're going into that journey. And if you're carrying the fear, you're only amplifying the authority and power that they bring in to amplify that fear as well.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because that was around, maybe would have been around the time where I got involved in what was a cult, kind of,
Yeah, well, it's not
it,
interesting. It's
isn't it?
synchronicity that I'm sharing. It's not interesting.
Yeah,
It's truth.
yeah. So thank you for saying that. And then that brought up a lot of fear. So I know it's
I think
time
you're
to
in a good
clear that.
place.
It's
I
time
think
to
you're in a good
clear that.
place. You're in a good
Yeah.
place with Lisa and following someone that your heart opens to. If you have a question or doubt about the facilitator, take a step back. There's thousands of us.
Yeah.
There are. There
Yeah.
are. And even in this like ET, UFO, UAP world, oh
Hmm.
man, there are a lot. Even some of the channelers are channeling fear-based stuff.
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was going to say, if you feel any seduction, it's not just sexual seduction, a promise of something that you're going to gain more power for the sake of manipulating something, kind of step back and go, that's no, I'm actually wanting to open and not get like this special Arcturian power that's going to give me mental capacity to manifest this particular relationship or job. Then it's like, slow down, really look at the intention of what's being brought in, and you'll know, you'll feel the alignment and the trust in your heart. And that's all you really need to step in. And but be aware of some of these other energies that they're well intended, but perhaps they're not aware that they're necessarily taking people to those places either because they're at a certain level that they're still healing through. We all are in different ways.
we are. Yeah.
I've been working with Christy Whitman for the last couple of years, so,
Sweet. Chrissy's
and
amazing.
yeah, just learning to try to master my energy and work in, the
You're in,
emotions, you know what she does, right?
yeah, you're in a good place, Jane. I'd say to keep following what opens your heart. I think Lisa would be wonderful for you. And again, maybe you can take advantage of the special offer. I'm going to take someone else on a live
Thank
call.
you so much.
All right, Jane, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you
Uh,
both.
yeah, yeah, you're so welcome. And let's go now to Karen. Karen, welcome to the call.
Good evening. How are you?
It's great to see you. Thanks for coming on. What's your question for Lisa?
My question this evening is I totally get you with news, politics, let that all be. We do have to live in the real world. That's why I do my meditation, yoga, and whatnot. But how can I more embody? I truly believe in the multi-dimensional aspect, and I am doing creating, but not as consciously as I might like. Is there a way to remove that self-doubt per se and step in and embody? I'm in the second week of Akashic Records reading with Deb Solaris. So I know a lot of things are going to come to
Mm.
play there too, but maybe if I could just fine tune a little bit more while I'm thinking about it.
Okay, well, and that's one thing that we are going to do in week one of my offer is really like it's a practice, no matter if you're doing it with me or Deb or anyone else or just even on your own. It is a practice. We are so used to going on autopilot. And so the more that we're like, okay, you notice yourself like, oh, I'm going into doubt or guilt or shame or fear or I'm in perfectionism, then really then stopping yourself and reframing it, being like, okay, why is that coming up? And is that true?
Mm.
Because, this may be a story you've been telling for your entire life. Like for
Mm.
me, what came up, because I'm still going through stuff, is I mean, I knew I had not been wanted by my mother. And even in the womb, like that was deep. But I didn't realize how deep it still was that I hadn't fully cleared. And it came up really strongly on Monday. And I'm like, whoa. And that is actually part of what explains all of my love relationships.
Mm.
And so I have my stuff together in certain areas of my life, like my business or, friendships, but like my love life, I've had a little bit of a windy path. And even so 2 years ago, even my husband committed suicide. And so that was another way of me being shown of being unwanted, even though that's a
Mm.
story I made up. Yeah.
But you just suggest maybe raising awareness just a
Yes,
little bit more.
raising
Okay.
awareness. And then there are some practices you can do. You can be writing out like the flip of that, like as kind of a gratitude journal, as mantras, affirmations, trying to rewire that into your body of like, no, like no, I am worthy. I can
Mm.
do this, like whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for your package, I see that it says the access, there's 4 classes, they're 90 minutes. It says it'll be available on the fulfillment page. Does that mean like once you've watched them, is there more access after that?
So, okay, that's
Well,
funny.
how about let's go into the special offer page for everybody. I think that you brought it up, Karen. That's great. So everybody, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. You can click on that link. There's a button right underneath the video. I think someone said they couldn't find it. Underneath the video where you're watching the call, or if you're listening to the call, in that box, there should be a special offer box. In case you can't find it either one of those places, just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. You'll find Lisa's picture on the marketplace. It should be the first one that you tune into. It's by date, and click on the special offer button there. And Lisa, go ahead and guide us through what you're going to offer. It's 4 live classes, but let everybody know what they're going to receive as they dive in with you.
Okay. So I have taught this before, so I already know like how powerful it really is
Amazing.
for the people. So it is 4 live classes, but if you can't make it live, then there you can always watch the replays. So it will be recorded on Zoom. And it's going to be so starting Sunday, September 28th. And so week one, like when I taught it just recently, there had been a lady who had been doing like deep spiritual practices and even teaching and healing others for 40 years. And she was like, after that first class of clearing away guilt, shame, perfectionism, doubt, fear, like all the things, she was like, just one thing that you said made it click where it's like this aha moment. And so
Mhm.
really that it to really step into your highest timeline potential and be in all areas of your life, we really have to clear out the junk. And so that's what week one is about. And so the way that I teach these is there's some teaching, but then there is always a process because I'm
Mhm.
all about has to be an activation that happens, right? If you're just listening to someone lecture at you, you're not getting
Mhm.
the embodiment of it. And it also gives you tools in order to carry forth throughout the rest of your life. So that's week one is clearing the path. We got to clear the path. Then week two, then you're going to learn how to actually raise your vibration and shift your perspective and really understand that coming from love and listening to your higher self, tuning into your higher self, that is the way to be visualizing and holding those emotions of your higher dimensional self. And so that's what we really focus on week two. Then week three is we're deepening that self-love connection, the soul connection, cultivating worthiness. And I'm connecting you with higher guides, like John got to connect with Yeshua ben Joseph, Christ consciousness, and Melchizedek, and really who are your guides that want to be there for you that you can turn to and really start embodying their information because they are giving information from this higher dimensional realm that's so
Mhm.
much closer to source. So the more that you can tune into it yourself, what a beautiful thing. And then week four, then we're actually putting it all together to create what does it look like for your highest timeline potential in this earth life? Like, is it more abundance? Is it radiant health? Is it loving relationships? Job, career, if you're in retirement, am I going to travel the world or am I going to do service projects? Like, what does that look like in all aspects? And then really learning how to anchor that in, how to embody it, how to be it. And so
Mhm.
there are practical tools and techniques to carry that forward. There's always Q&A and being in that supportive group environment. What I love about teaching live as opposed to necessarily just watching videos where you don't get the interaction is that you get the ahas from other people. Someone might have a question or a
Mhm.
comment that you're like, why didn't I think of that? So
Mhm.
it's a beautiful co-collaborative experience. It's not just me. All of you have great wisdom to share as well.
Mm. That's wonderful. The price for this it's greatly reduced. It's a special offer on VTO. It's $127 for all 4 live courses. Again, there's recordings of it, replays if you miss one of the lives. How much does this typically retail for?
So this originally is 197
Great.
and yeah. So it definitely is a discount.
So it's a
And
good reduction in the price, right? And access to Lisa, which I can't recommend enough. My experience was phenomenal. And I know y'all can feel her here as well and what's being activated. And you say that activation doesn't happen just during a lecture, but I have to argue with you because I've been feeling lit up in the conversation today. So I won't say I necessarily agree, but I think it depends on who you're listening to, what their intention is, and the vibration that they carry, and how they direct it. Not as a manipulation, but in the beingness of who
yeah,
they be, um,
yeah,
which is
thank you.
profound. Y'all take advantage of this. Again, this two payment option. When does the first class start?
We start Sunday, September 28th.
September
So
28th. So
yeah, so a week and a half, and it's going to be Sundays. Just I was hoping that that day would be accessible to most people who
I think
might
that's a
work.
great day. Yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't interrupt the BTO calls also. Awesome.
right.
Uh, so, all right, y'all. There it is for y'all. Another gift from BTO. And again, I'm really excited about what Lisa's bringing to all of us. Again, I had an amazing experience, and it's just time to embody and activate and own and create with these
Yeah,
gifts that have been given to us that we get to say yes to once and for all. Let's do it and carry it forward. Um, so there it is for. Let's continue with a couple of more questions, and then we'll get into the process. Um, Again, y'all, really quick, someone was asking the link for the special offers in the chat box, or you can click on the button underneath where you're watching the call from or listening from, and you'll see a special offer button there to open up the page, check out. You'll get all the instructions on how to access the live courses in the fulfillment page. And I think that's what you were asking, Karen, to answer your question there. Um, so, all right, let's continue now to how about we go to Roger? Roger, welcome to the call. Hello, sir.
Oh, hi, and thank you very much. I was wondering if you could give me specific advice for some questions.
okay, we'll see.
Okay, well, I was born during a lunar eclipse,
Okay,
and I woke up in the birth canal, and then I was desperate for air, and um, so then life got weird. As, so I have all of my planets were apparently on one side, and there's no Earth, and all fire and air and a drop of water. And I was wondering if there's any advice you can give me to use that construction. And then I had another question.
okay. Well, so one thing, even though my mother was an astrologer, I am not an astrologer myself. So that particular aspect, what I can tell you though is personally, I am mostly air and fire and air myself, with just a little sprinkling of water and earth, which is why I decided I needed to be on an island surrounded by water. So um, I, in terms of the experience that you came here to have, like being, you're awake in the birth canal and things getting weird, you came to have an interesting life. That's something that your soul was like, oh, let's try this experience on. I probably would need to have further, longer conversation with you to understand what more is going on to be able to be like really helpful, if even that's something that I could give you. But again, astrology specific isn't what I do.
Hmm.
Well, I was just thinking in general because it's kind of unique, and I've had many, many different unique opportunities to experience things. Um, I can work with energy on occasion. I see patterns and I can work with them. And uh, let's see. Uh, I've had the idea for a long time that if you get a bunch of people who are clear and clean and focused together on one bright spot, you can get that to happen in the midst of chaos because it's all coherent.
Yes.
And
Yeah, they have done actual studies. I think it was back in 1997. They had a 3-week long kind of transcendental meditation thing of focusing on peace in areas
Hmm.
where there was a lot of like crime and other things. And after the 3 weeks, significantly decreased. So, yes, people coming together for a common purpose amplifies that energy. And the more that people are clear in their energy of doing that, then it's even stronger. And that's
Well,
why we only need we don't need like all of Earth, all the humans to be non-polarized. We just need a certain percentage of us to really shift Earth into that higher potential.
yeah, and I actually want to speak into that because it's really important, Roger, that you bring it up because yes, that exists, but we're also being called to, and the shift of consciousness that we're choosing is creating that. So we're actually the living expression of that level of creation and form, and we're activating each other in that. And we've a lot of us have heard the 1% of the population, 144,000, and the different numbers that are out there. And I think that's wonderful from a global perspective. But what happens when we are the tipping point in our own home? What
Yes.
happens if we gather others who are the tipping point in our small community? What happens if we create enough of a small community in our community, if we're the tipping point for that radius? And what if these hubs of those tipping points all rise up? It doesn't seem so insurmountable at that time. And we're doing this. But again, there's such a focus on the large, and it seems like how's that going to happen that we don't know how to have a direct experience. But we're the catalyst, we're the way showers in our current environment, and the proof keeps showing up. So you don't have to look for it anywhere else. And the more proof that shows up, the more that it validates you, which amplifies even more of your power. You ground in even a potential from potential into actualization and then amplifies even more. So the ripple effects of us being that now and realizing that is profound. Again, it's not so far removed and so insurmountable. And the personal experiences that we have that seem like where'd that come from? And can someone please explain it to me? I get the needing to know that, but there's also, okay, so I had the experience. What is this showing me so I can carry something forward? Because there's a trap that we can loop in spiritual practices and things that are being shown that are also part of the program that are trying to keep us in that loop and outside of ourselves. It's like, I may not know what this is, but I know what it feels like. I know I've experienced enough of an experience that has shifted, educated me in some way. And how do I bring that education into myself so I can build upon what I learned instead of looping around? Why does 2 plus 2 equal 4? Why does 2 plus 2 equal 4? It's like, you already know that it does. Go do something with it. And so it's profound what's awakening for us now. And we're really being called to carry things forward in our embodiment because you're meant to be a catalyst for yourself first,
Yeah.
for yourself first. And in that, you can't help but to share.
Yeah. That's spot on, John. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Roger, blessings to you. Keep having those experiences. And thank you for bringing that up. It's so important about
Yeah,
that.
I just got to, I wanted to say one more thing. It just popped in my head.
Yes.
I'm pretty old, been around, and the most important thing I learned is to be quiet.
Hmm. Nice. Nice. Well, you're doing it well. Thank you for sharing also. Uh, Wonderful. Lisa, I think we should go into, are you calling it a transmission, an activation, an energetic attunement? I don't know.
Do we have to label it? How about
No,
I
we don't. I love that
no.
you don't actually. We're going into an experience.
Yes, it's an experience. People love to label things, and even as a
Mm,
scientist, I used to love categorizing, things, but let's just let it be what it's going to be.
I love that.
Okay, so and I'm looking at our time,
We've
so
got we've got plenty of time, Lisa, so guide it however you want to guide it. I'm actually going to turn off my video so that everybody can focus on you. So
okay,
I'll give you, it's the stage is yours.
okay, perfect. So I would invite everyone who's here, if it's safe for you to do so, to go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you, as you're closing your eyes, just to allow your body to get as relaxed into the surface beneath you as you can, allowing yourself to take this journey with me, knowing that you are safe and all is well. I want you to go ahead and take a very nice deep breath in and hold it at the top. And exhale fully through your mouth, releasing any tension that you're holding on to, relaxing a little bit deeper. Taking another really deep breath in and holding at the top. And exhaling fully. Really grounding into your body. And one more deep inhale, holding at the top. And releasing fully. Above your head, I want you to see a beautiful white sparkling light. The sparkling light energy, and it's coming down like a waterfall, washing over your body from your head down to your feet, moving into the center of the earth. And just seeing this white light wash over your body, and any tension that you're holding on to is being dissolved into this white light energy to be flushed into the center of the earth. Now opening the top of your head and seeing this white light energy pouring down into the top of your head, moving down through your body like a river, down and out through the bottom of your feet into the center of the earth. And as this white source light energy is moving through your body, it's removing the blockages, it's clearing the debris, it's shining light in all of the dark places. Any tension that you are holding on to is being dissolved into this white light energy to be flushed out through the bottom of your feet into the center of the earth. We're going to do a quick balancing of the chakras, starting at your root chakra, the base of your spine. I want you to see red spinning energy. And I want you to see that red spinning easily, freely. Moving up now to a couple of inches below your belly button to your sacral. Seeing orange spinning energy. And that orange is spinning in perfect harmony with the red below it. Moving up now to your stomach area, to your solar plexus. Seeing yellow spinning energy. And that yellow is spinning in perfect harmony with the orange and the red. Up now to your heart, seeing green spinning energy. And that green is spinning in perfect harmony with the yellow, the orange, and the red. Up now to your throat, seeing blue spinning energy. And that blue is spinning in perfect harmony with the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red. Up now to your third eye, seeing indigo spinning energy. And the indigo is spinning in perfect harmony with the blue, the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red. Up now to your crown, to the top of your head, seeing violet, spinning energy. And the violet is spinning in perfect harmony with the indigo, the blue, the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red. Now, from an observer perspective, I want you to see all of these energy centers lit up like a rainbow, energy moving up and down your spinal column easily, freely. Now, once again, opening the top of your head and seeing that white, sparkling light energy coming down into the top of your head, moving very easily down through your body and down and out through the bottom of your feet into the center of the earth. And now opening up your root chakra and seeing that recycled white light energy from the center of the earth to come back up through the root, meeting the light from above in the heart, the light from above meeting the light from below in the heart space, intertwining. And now focusing on that heart space, seeing the green energy of the heart. And I want you to expand that green energy out beyond your body. Push that green energy out further beyond your room. Pushing the green out further beyond your house. Pushing the green out further into Earth's atmosphere. Out further now into the solar system. Now pushing that green out into the galaxy. And now pushing the green out as far into the universe, time, space, and dimension as you can imagine. You are sending out the love frequency, the universal law, the universal language, and only that which is of love can come into your space. Now bringing that green energy back into your body, knowing that that love resides within you. This is who you are. This is your pure state of being. From this love place, this is where we create our highest, our greatest potential reality. Now, what I want you to do is imagine in front of you parallel timelines, stacks of papers stacked on top of each other. And I want you to just intuitively jump into the timeline that is your highest potential of your radiant health, your unlimited abundance, your perfect job, career, or retirement opportunities, your most loving, compassionate relationships. And I want you to fully be in that timeline. And I want you to just be aware of what you are doing in this timeline. What kind of energies are there? How are you operating in your life? Where might you live? Where might you be on earth? What are you doing in your daily activities? Without putting it to be a specific person, what are the energies of the people that are in your life? What are their qualities? And I want you to, as clearly as you can, see this. And I want you to feel it in your body as much as you can. Feel those emotions of how that would be to be in this timeline reality. And I want you now to notice if there are any places that are coming up in your mind of doubt, of unworthiness, I don't deserve this. And if there are, just notice it and allow it to evaporate away in divine perfection. Anything that no longer serves this highest timeline potential, just letting it dissolve away in perfect harmony with yourself, with the universe. anchoring yourself fully into this highest timeline potential from this place of love. And now, as you are in this energy from this place of love, from these emotions of being in this timeline, I want you to gently bring yourself back into the present moment and maintain that energy as much as you can throughout the rest of your day, your evening, and your week. Coming back into your body and opening your eyes when you're ready. That was just a little, that was so, just a little taste.
It's a little taste, but the depth is really, it's so quick to get there. And again, the invitation for the breathing and activating the energy points, the portals within our physicality is tremendous. Um, y'all have any questions that come up around the activation? Kathy writes, "Thank you, very calming." Um, and there's going to be more of these type of experiences on the live calls as well, right?
Oh yeah, and much deeper, longer, and focusing on specific
Okay.
things to
Wow.
clear and
Oh,
raise and get the guides and all the things. And
amazing.
so Rosemary has her hand up. Can we take
We
Rosemary's
have lots
question?
of people with hands up. Yeah. So we're not going to get to everybody because we are running long. But yeah, let's go ahead since you called on Rosemary. Let's take her. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, John. Thank you. And Lisa, thank you so much. Uh, Lately, I've been seeing sequential numbers like, 111, 11, and 11. The last couple of months or so, I've been seeing these numbers. And then last night, I turned my computer off and I heard this voice come from my computer, I thought, which was advertising some kind of clip art. And it woke me up. When I turned to go back to sleep, the number was 444. So I'm kind of wondering what is going on with the number sequences and that waking up or the computer. And it seems like the more I see these numbers, the more things are happening in my body, not always comfortable.
Okay, well, and sometime, yes, this is definitely when people start noticing the sequential numbers or signs over and over, like you might see specific images. Those are signs from your guides, from your team, from your higher self. And so the different numbers can mean different things. So the fours are the angels, the threes, like 333, are the ascended masters. 555 is all about massive changes coming your way. And so just starting to pay attention to which ones are coming more prevalently, but they all have messages and meanings for you. And what I can tell you from my own personal experience in terms of the body, once you start noticing and you're waking up a little more, the body, the nervous system can have a little bit more space that it needs to integrate. Because it's higher energy coming into your body. You're becoming more consciously aware of your higher vibrational self. And so just being a little more gentle with yourself, more water, more maybe electrolytes, more grounding in nature, and letting the body catch up with what the higher consciousness is bringing to you.
So the higher consciousness is bringing discomfort in the body because of what I'm awakening. I'm not quite clear
Well,
about that.
um, for some people, yes, it depends. It's not going to be like that forever, but it can be just a little bit depending on how regulated your nervous system is, I would say.
Mhm.
And
Beautiful.
you address that in your classes with
We can.
one-on-one?
Yeah, we can. And the more that you're running this kind of energy, like that white light energy that we were just running, the more that you are running that through your body, the more your body can adjust much quicker to whatever's going on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rosemary. It's wonderful to see you. And that I would also invite to play with it and say, oh my God, was it meeting? I need to find meeting. I need to grab it. It's grabbing you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like, all right, thank you. It's like, if you want me to know something, I'm open and just thank you. It's like, hey, I'm open to receive. Or if you're not in the mood to receive it, just say, I'm not in the mood today. Interact with it, play with it, just like, and the body thing also is people think, well, if I'm getting activated, benevolence isn't supposed to hurt. Well, we've gone through puberty, we've gone through growth spurts, we've gone through adjusting in physicality, and the same thing energetically, where we're being stretched beyond a capacity that we have or discomfort or breaking out of a barrier sometimes. There's there's the tiredness of the adjustment
Yeah.
that it takes place as we evolve into the next place. You don't break a 4-minute mile by not pushing yourself. But when you break the mile, it's like, oh my God, it's like the best thing ever. Geez, amazing. And so it's the contraction are all perceptions of suffering. But if we can shift the perception that the suffering is bad and really embrace an awareness of a growth that's activating, then the difficulty of it won't be perceived as badly as perhaps we're taught to receive it, which is really important for part of our journey as well. Yeah, yeah, beautiful. I'm guided to call on Carol. Carol, welcome to the call.
John.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Carol.
I got such a tingle at the beginning of the call because I also live on the Big Island. And I know John's in Kauai, and it
Mm.
was like, oh, wow, maybe I'll get a chance to meet somebody that's on one of these calls that lives close by. So thank you for that. I'd like you to explain to me a little bit more about the bleed through, if you can. You spoke earlier about bleed through.
Yeah.
Great
Okay.
question. Yeah.
That is a really good question. So, okay, so we have all these multiple parallel lives going on. They don't all impact us, but sometimes, we will come in with some kind of trauma that isn't from this specific life. And this is just one example. So, we might have a witch wound. That's a common thing in these kind of spiritual communities of people having this witch wound of like, if I speak out, if I show who I am, I'm going to be burned at the stake. So that isn't necessarily something that we came in, like our parents didn't give us that. It's not from our childhood upbringing. It's from this parallel reality that we're bringing in to this life to then perhaps clear up, to heal that wounding. But we can also bring in these abilities from these other lives. So perhaps, even same kind of scenario as a witch, you're an amazing healer. You know how to use these herbs and how to really use energy to create an environment. And you didn't learn that, right, in this life. Maybe, you didn't do any schooling for it, but you just naturally know how to do it. So those would be a couple of examples of how this energy is bleeding through.
Uh-huh. And so then you end up being drawn towards those kind of things and those kind of occupations or whatever is what you're saying?
It doesn't have to be an occupation necessarily. It could just be a hobby or an interest. A lot of people are interested in things that never become businesses or careers.
Mhm.
And, so like me, I've been artistic my entire life. And the only time I tried to turn that into a career was when I did interior design home staging. But I was always very creative in other outlets, dancing and choreography and making jewelry and all the things. So whatever our passion is, it doesn't have to become our job.
Right. No, my job is retirement now, so I'm
Okay.
very happy.
Well,
Nice.
All right.
that's a good one.
Thank you. And I hope to meet you sometime here on the Big Island.
Yeah,
Where are you?
I'm in Waikoloa. Where are you?
I'm in Hawaii.
Okay.
the North Kohala. We're close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We can reach
amazing.
out.
Carol, thank you for coming on. It's wonderful to see you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Lisa. Aloha.
Yeah, aloha. April put the link in for the special offer again, y'all. Again, it's 4 live classes on Sundays beginning September 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
September
Yep.
28th. At what time?
It's 12 p.m. Pacific,
12
3
p.m. Pacific time.
p.m. Yeah.
Okay. Live
9
calls, live Q&A,
Yep.
experiences, we're calling them today.
Experiences.
Experiences, and to be in this energy with Lisa is just it's really a gift. Again, my experience was really profound. And so it just lights me up to be able to bring this to y'all for you to experience working with Lisa directly. I know we're running a little bit over, but Deborah, I have to call on you. Why don't I get you to unmute your microphone, please? And what's your question for Lisa as we end today's call?
Um, I'm interested about you speaking about doing past lives. You also do Akashic records, but your focus, I gathered, was maybe more into the past lives. And I've had this like big thirst, like, okay, man, I got to go after that. Just find like it's not. I'm very interested in it, but it's just I feel like I have a blockage, and that I'm sensing that there's an opening there. In your classes, from just reviewing it, we're not going to that depth. It's just more the preparatory of our consciousness and is that true?
Yes and no. It kind of depends on how deep, because like in the first class, especially where that's the blockages, right? That's the one where we focus on clearing away those things that are holding us back in our life. And so those typically are the things that might be bleeding in through in those other realities, or even that stories that came out of just growing up here on Earth with our family, or even our epigenetic lineage, all of that seeps through. And so,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I can't promise that we're going to do that, because that tends to be a little more one-on-one personal work to really to know, like, okay, let's navigate this. And this is more of the group journey, but you can start getting some of that information, and you depending on where you are on your spiritual journey, you may be able to access that very quickly.
Yeah, that surprised me. I feel like I've just got this block here. I want it so badly. But my other question was really like, you do this with clients on one-on-one.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just I wasn't expecting that today or even in the course, but just.
Well, and I think y'all feel into it. I can tell you from my experience and what I'm feeling from Lisa also, and I feel what I know. This isn't a shallow teaching, even in the live courses. There's nothing shallow about it. There's a depth of there's depth that is offered. And when y'all come on, because this community, a lot of y'all are healers in your own right, and you know it. A lot of y'all are healers in your right, and you don't own it and pretend not to know it. That's fine also. But that energy still comes through. So when you activate together, there's also a depth that is profound that may access even something that is not available on a one-on-one. So follow your heart and your own knowing, and ask if you're in doubt. But I don't feel that this is just going to be a shallow gathering.
No. And again, the feedback that I got from the first time I did it with really experienced spiritual people and even healers is that, like, wow, I got to go even deeper. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, no, sorry, that was.
No, it didn't come across that way, but I just wanted to anchor it in. I wanted to nail the coffin. I wanted to nail the coffin, I guess.
I'm so, Lisa, it's just so awesome to meet you. No, I feel the vibe and the energy. Yes,
It's wonderful to see you, Deborah. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking the question. Tara wrote, great meditation. Hope we got to that timeline. Thank you both. Tara, don't hope, just be with it. It's right there. It's right there. And y'all come back into the experience and breathe into it and do it in your own space. So we'll send out the link for the replay later. The replays are always on the website. You know where to access it. Beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replays. and come back into the experience and just be with it and that intimacy and see what shows up. Create sacred space and go find you. Go be selfish and discover the best of you. So again, we'll send out the replay. You know where to access the special offer, which is in the chat box again on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace and underneath the video or the audio where you're watching or listening to this call from as well. And with that, Lisa, I'm so happy that we finally had you on Beyond the Ordinary, and I can't wait to have you back. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for owning your experience and sharing it because it's so permissive. It opens us up to really the open-heartedness of what's true for us without having to contract it back for the sake of anyone else.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having this platform, and I'm just so
Mhm.
honored to be here with you and the entire audience. Thank you
Yeah,
guys
such
for
a great
for
call.
yourselves.
Thank you. And thank you for the permission. I think I'm going to call in my galactic beings in dream time tonight. Let's see what happens, but we get to play with that. Y'all, thank you for being on this call. Y'all are amazing. I feel just the beauty and the love and the power and the innocence all simultaneously. And what you all do to amplify our gathering. So thank you with all of my heart. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next call. Namaste.